Hey, welcome Raider fans to podcast number one, episode number one. This is the Mad Bomber podcast, and I'm your host, Johnny from San Diego. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the preseason. I don't want to talk too much about the preseason. It's just vanilla football right now, and the last thing we want to do is get too high or too low. I mean, we had a 4-0 season with Josh McDaniels when he was our coach. So right now, they're playing vanilla football. When I was at the game Saturday, I was checking out the speed, checking out the coverages, and this is a very well coached team. I mean, we played two teams, Seattle and the Niners, are very well coached, and there were some standouts. And I'm sure that everybody saw our offense, and our offense looked good. And I got a clip of that right now. Let's all get excited because there's three of these guys right now that are probably going to be big parts of the Raiders' offense. And let's take a look.
On first down, taking a shot for Brown.
Really good coverage by Brown on the outside against the best tight end in football. I mean, this is a great throw and a great catch. I don't know how you can coach any different.
That's just big boy football, right? You got Moss. That's what you want to see right there. That's Brock Bowers. A top
coverage at the line of scrimmage.
Run again with Jackson. That's a bulldozer. He is bouncing off defenders and dragged down.
That's exciting football, but if you dig deeper into that video, we're going to take another look at it. Let's take a peek at 61 Jordan Meredith. It's a mixed bag with Raider fans right now about Jordan Meredith. Him at center. Everybody would like to see JPJ there. I'm not gonna try to figure out what's going on there because there's a lot of speculation from everybody that he can't get the calls, and I know that Pete Carroll really does like Jordan Meredith. So let's take a look. Let's get digging deep to this one. You'll see number 61 on both of these plays. Take a look.
On first down, taking a shot for Brown.
Really good coverage by Brown on the outside against the best tight end in football. I mean, this is a great throw and a great catch. I don't know how you can coach any different.
That's just big boy football, right? You got Moss. That's what you want to see right there. That's Brock Bowers. A top
coverage at the line of scrimmage.
Run again with Jackson. That's a bulldozer. He is bouncing off defenders and dragged down.
Oh, that's just so beautiful. But if you did watch Meredith, and it's hard to find him, he looked good. And again, vanilla football. They're probably not seeing any stunts from the Niners. They're probably, again, we don't know what the Niners or the Seahawks depth charts are because we split our starters and our second stringers as well on defense. But it's one thing to try to put your hat on preseason football. I mean, if you've been a student of the game for as long as a lot of us have, it's like it just doesn't mean anything. It just right now, it's just a matter of, are they competing? They're in each game. They're in each game. I mean, they tied one, lost one, coming down to the last play, but they compete. And I know we're talking about AOC. I think this next game tomorrow night against the Cardinals, he's going to be on stage. I think he's auditioning for another team. Being at the game this weekend, this guy he's having a tough time with this offense. I was on a podcast last night, Captain Jack Rackham's podcast, and I think he made a good point that he's been in vanilla offenses, and this offense is a little bit more complex. And we'll see. I'm very. I was impressed with Cam Miller, but again, it's preseason. We don't know who he was playing with against, and you know what? It's just one of those things. Pete Carroll mentioned Bill Walsh when he was talking about quarterbacks, and he's like, guys can throw the ball 100 miles an hour, 100 yards. See Jamarcus Russell, and you can throw those perfect passes every time, on the practice field. But you know what Geno does that I'm noticing a little bit, and again, it's preseason, but it is Brock Bowers, is he throws his guys open, and that play to Bowers, I mean, seriously, he was covered. AOC would have never made that throw because he would have thought he was covered and go down into a second read. Where Geno Smith threw him open. Geno Smith is got that swagger, and that's very, very impressive. As far as the defense goes, you know what? Again, they were running a vanilla defense. Devin White bit on a few plays up the middle. He's a great run stopper, but Purdy beat him a couple times over the middle. He bit. Landon Roberts is going downhill as far as I see for game one. There was a lot of like Jamal Adams. He's as advertised. He's fast. You could just see that he's a step ahead. A little bit worried about Polamalu. I got spanked last night for saying his name wrong. I can't say his name. Sorry. Our safety. I don't know. Our safety seems to be a bit slow and gets there a little bit slow. And I'm going to end on this. Dante Thornton is the real deal. What I would like to see Dante Thornton, and my son Kyle made a great point back in the first game, is he's got to be a little bit more physical, especially with his hands, because he's a big receiver, and he's fast as advertised. Go to the game, and it's unreal. But he needs to get a little tougher. And again, game 2, slow down, Johnny, slow down. But it is game 2, and I'm just telling you that there's some really good things. This team competes. This isn't a team I've seen before, and I've talked to people that work for the Raiders, and they said this team is different. This team is definitely different. And without further ado, yesterday when I was on Captain Jack's podcast, Captain Jack, I've become friends with him, and I told him who was going to be my guest tonight. And he goes, "Your brother, the rock star." And then all these flooded, "Who is he? Who is he? Is he from Wham?" I'm like, "No, he's not from Wham. The guy dead." No, you'll find out tomorrow night if you want to come in. So without further ado, my brother, Steven Zetro Souza, a member of the Heavy Metal Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Zetro, what's up, big dog?
How are we doing? First show out of the gate, huh?
Yeah, keeping it real. You know how we do.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. At least you're having fun with it. That's the best. Have fun. That's what it's all about. Just have fun with it.
Raider football. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to 7477 Limerick Avenue. And I want to, was that 71 or 72?
72.
Because my first game was in 72. Your first game was in 73. And we'll get into your game. But I don't know if you can see the cursor. Can you going up and down?
What's that? No, I can't.
Okay, so check it out. For our fans at home, my brother's the one with the football.
Right, I'm holding the football.
Daryl LaMonica. I'm the one with the bow legs. Parents bought me horrible shoes when I was younger. Isn't that right?
Yeah, let's blame it on the shoes. They're dead anyway. It doesn't matter.
I mean, let's do this. Then you know what? Payback. Anyways, and that's me in the white shirt looking at him going, "I love you. I love you." And I remember while he was throwing us passes, how many passes do you think did anybody catch any?
Yeah, I think people did catch them.
Well, I wasn't one of them.
I wasn't either, actually.
I wasn't one of them. And I know that. I'm looking at him. And then I looked at him one time and go, "I'm going to be the next Freddie Bolitnikoff." And he looked at me like, "You better believe you are." Sure you are. Just make sure you go to trade school, you know. And
behind him, that's Troy Luccketta, the drummer from Tesla.
Yeah, with the purple shirt and the 70s haircut right there.
Exactly.
And I know Ricky Souza said he's in this picture, and I forgot which one he's in. But look at the lineup. I mean, that lineup was huge. And I remember him throwing for about an hour to an hour and a half.
Have video games. That's what we had right there. So when a guy like Daryl LaMonica comes to your, shitty little town in Dublin and comes to your block and throws passes to all the kids that are on the block, I mean, come on. That doesn't happen now. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It's not.
No, they have to get paid for that. But so memories of that day. I remember I remember the Robertsons. I remember Mike was probably the biggest guy out there. and he kept asking, who does he play for? Who does he play for? And I was like, the Raiders. And he's like, oh, okay. And remember, Val was kind of a sports guy, but there was a lot of these kids. We didn't even know that he was coming until the day before. And I want you to let the people at home tell them why he was there.
Well, Detroit's father was a really good welder, but he wasn't an arc welder. He was an art welder, and he could weld these really cool. In the 60s and 70s, that was big decoration, that kind of stuff. And so he made shields. He was such a fan. He actually would weld out of, cut it, mold it, weld it, shine it, sand it, do whatever he had to do. And he would make these Raider shields. I think Troy still has his.
No. What happened was Jeff took it. Jeff Keith, the singer.
That's right. That's right. Jeff has it.
Jeff Keith took it because I saw it. I was like going through. I was going through an Instagram and I saw Jeff Keith with that. I'm like, okay, I know there's only 3. I know there was only 3 made.
Made 3 of them, exactly.
And one was for.
That was really the only time where they had him come, where the actual guy came to pick it up, and then was there early enough to hang out and throw passes. Because I remember him and his wife had dinner with Joanne and Tony,
I don't remember that.
Well, they did because I went back into the house after they were all done throwing passes with Tracy, and they were eating dinner at the dinner table. And then they all turned and said, hey, have fun. It was so great. Thank you. That kind of a thing. But they were eating dinner. I guess Joanne must have cooked them, and I would assume.
Well, Tony was an amazing welder. I mean, and if you look at some of the art, I'm going to show it on another podcast because another gentleman that has a podcast, I saw a picture with him and Jim Otto, and he had the picture of the shield on that on his mantle, and I didn't know who the guy was, the podcaster, and I DM'd him, and he said, yeah, I got to watch a playoff game, the 2000 when the Raiders went to Cincinnati and lost, and he went and watched the game with them, so he had it. But yeah, that was quite a day. I remember the group picture that I can't find. Remember, he took a group picture with all of us. There was probably, how many kids do you think there was? 25?
So, yeah, I mean, you can't necessarily see them all in that picture right there, but there was probably another 8 to 9 kids that you can't see there, because it was every kid on the block. It was a big thing, and it wasn't like we told all of our friends from up streets. It was just the Limerick kids that did that, what I mean? It was kind of a big deal, and it was the days before you carried phones around with you, and you selfies, and you took pictures of everything that moved, so
right.
Before that, we were lucky to get this shot, actually.
Yeah, and I don't know how we got it. I do remember having it, and as you remember my the fire. That thing for some reason did not get taken. So I was very happy about that. You know what? Let's go there. What in your early years as a Raider fan? Who was your favorite player, Steven? I don't remember you having a favorite player.
I mean, I wasn't a big favorite player guy because I loved them all. But I mean, Stabler was always, always leaned towards him. He just seemed to be able to get us out of trouble, all the time. And he was such an outlaw. Our dad was an outlaw, and he was a fucking outlaw.
Right.
And him, but obviously you're going to get into this. There was a reason why Matuzak was close to my heart. You know what I mean? And,
right.
But early Raiders, I really didn't have one. Necessarily. I was just, a fan of the Raiders. I think as I got older, 10, 11, 7, 74, 75. Then I started to get into the players. Loved Freddie B. The guy wouldn't
Eddie B.
nothing. Loved Jack Tatum. I loved Jack Tatum. It was just, he was a Raider. If there was anything that exemplified what the Raiders of the 70s were, Jack Tatum was every bit of that. Jack Tatum is every bit the autumn wind. Every bit.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. And then I just remember back in the days. Do you remember Warren Wells?
Yeah, number 88.
Yeah, 81. He's the one who caught the pass. He threw that. I remember my very first memory of Wells was the Jets Raiders game, and LaMonica tosses the ball up, and both Jets players pop it up in the air in Shea Stadium, and Wells grabs it for the touchdown, and Bill King just kills the call in there. I also remember when
killing the call. I mean, the holy roller. That's the most. If you should replay anything on your podcast, that whole call. When he just talks, when Stabler goes from the beginning to the end of the hit, man, he wants to know if it's real. They said he is. Get your big butt out of here. He knows.
Nothing's real in the world anymore. If the guys stay till the very end, they'll have a little Bill King, but I'm not getting that one in yet. I did a little bit of my promo shows it, but we're going to do it again tonight, and it leads into his call and Stabler when Stabler goes in against the Steelers before we got screwed. That was a good call. Now, Steven, do you remember listening to Scotty Sterling?
Yeah, because he came on before the Stick. Remember, it was Monty Stickles came after.
He came in 76. Stickles did. He came in for the ring.
It was Scotty Sterling. It was Bill King and Scotty Sterling in the beginning. That was the Raiders radio.
Yeah, because Scotty Sterling had a show, and Dad used to listen to it. We all both listened to it. It was Scotty Sterling, Sports Phone 68 478 3200. I remember that. I remember Scotty Sterling. He was like I was saying last night, I was a weird kid. I mean, 10, 11 years old, and I'm listening to Sports Phone. I guess we didn't have much, at nighttime, realistically. And I remember trying to call in, and every time he heard my voice, he hung up on me. Didn't want some little kid on the show. So, but I did love Scotty Sterling.
Yeah, he was a good commentator. I mean, I loved Monty Stickles too. I thought that in that era of Raiders, when they were, he was really good for the compliment Bill King very much so. And that's what made everything. It was the players. It was the fan mentality in the stands. It was the announcers. It was like, we're Raiders. We'll just beat you up. That's kind of the mentality. And that's what it was, So I think that mystique, which I to be honest with you, it definitely doesn't exist anymore. But
no. So tell me your first game. I remember your first game because you went in. Go ahead. What year and what was the game?
73 against Pittsburgh at home. It was actually the game that LaMonica gets hurt in, and Stabler comes in, and from then on out, it was Stabler's team. And so it was raining. I remember my dad bought me a Pittsburgh Steelers and
I remember that.
Steelers helmet because it got rained on it. The color washed away. So forever that it was on my wall in our room at our house, I always looked at that. It always reminded me of that day. So I remember we were in the second deck up in like section 30. We were in the corner. I think we got the tickets from somebody at work. from where.
Yeah, he did because that's where the year before, same thing.
But it was, obviously it's a pro football game. It was, my first introduction to that.
I remember it was a little wet that game, right?
That's what I'm saying. A good
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
On my pennant. So
Yeah.
The colors in the Steelers helmet where it says steel and it has the blue and the red. Well, they ran those colors. So when I had the pennant hung up in my room, because every time I went to a Raider game, I bought the opposing team's pennant because I wanted to say, well, I went and saw that team play. Or went and saw it wasn't like
Yeah, that was your badge of honor.
Game, but it was, and so I always looked at the Steeler one because the colors ran in that. They weren't, and that always reminded me of that day.
I have that pennant. It's over here on the wall. I jacked you long time ago. We'll talk about that later. 1974, I got to go to the Sea of Hands game. Remember, I got to go with the I think the Perrys. Remember, I threw newspapers to the Perrys, and they took me to the Sea of Hands game.
Casey and Vicky Perry, their parents were really nice to you, and they knew the Raider fans.
Yeah, I got to see the Sea of Hands game. And we're going to have a great question. I know you know the answer. We're going to have a great question here coming up real soon. So get your Google because you're not going to be able to find it. You better be able to find this question.
Nobody gets it. Nobody does.
I don't know. I got these last night. There was some savvy guys on Captain Jack's show. I got to bring the heat, man. You guys got to bring the heat. We'll talk about that right after we talk about this great day. This was a fun day. And there's Christopher Prestigard looking at Matuzak right behind. That's our cousin, Christopher Prestigard. And it's just hilarious. We were like, we all got to go. I'm the guy with the hat looking at Steven very jealously going, I want that. I want that. And tell us about that day and how you got that. I think there was a little pizza involved.
The thing is I loved eating pizza. I mean, when I was in the 70s, I didn't care. Pizza was pizza. I could eat it 3 times a day. And Straw Hat Pizza was running this thing called the Raiders had a weekly show, like they probably called This Week in the Raiders or whatever. This Las Vegas. Well, this one was called On the Sidelines with the Oakland Raiders. The weekly show came on the Saturday before the Sunday, and they showed, the game from before, and they did different segments. Well, this segment was Ask Your Favorite Raider a Question. So every week I went and ate pizza at this place for like, I don't know, month and a half, and I always filled the things out, and I always put John Matuzak on there. So one day, I think I was even at Grandma's. I was at Papa's house and Wella's house, and they called our house because you put your phone number down there. And it was Al Locasell, and they called my mom. That they needed me to come to the Coliseum on the next day. This was on a Friday. It was the next day was Saturday to practice, and that they would be filming it then. And so we all got to go. It was me, because me and Chris were already staying with our grandmother. And then actually the 2 guys in the back that you see, guy in the white jacket and the guy in the blue jacket, the other guy was my friend who went to the pizza parlor with me.
Yes.
And he got to interview Pete Banaszak. And so what it was is they picked 3 people, and each person had a question, and I got to ask Matuzak, and his coach at the time, the defensive line coach, was Tom Doms, and I asked him a question, and then he answers it, for you. But yeah, there it is.
There it is, right there. Wearing your beautiful Stabler jersey, right. and that's Tom Doms, and I remember that. That was such a great, and it came off really well on the show too, because it was cool. I mean, and then anytime when we were kids being on the stadium, I remember going to a Day on the Green so I could find the place that Kenny Stabler jumped in against the the Patriots to go to the AFC Championship game.
We got to throw the ball and kick the ball on the field, and it was cool. You know? It was like being a kid in the musician dragging on stage. Yeah, stage for a while. That's cool for us. I was 14 years old at this time. It was in 1978. So I'll never forget that. Sure.
Oh, no, I'll never forget it either. That was great. And we got the P-Boys in there. That was awesome. Christopher was the P-Boys were big Raider fans.
Where we all were.
Yeah.
At that time, you know, we lived in Eastbay. We grew up we didn't live in Oakland. So, I was born in Oakland, and our grandparents were all in Oakland, you know. So
yes. Yeah, and a little side story. Me and my brother, when we did go to A's games, we got to cross the railroad tracks every game. And back in the day, was right where before they put the walk over to from the BART to there, we would park in that court, and then we would walk to the game.
And Dodge train. Come on, boy.
Run!
We're going to game today. Are we going? Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not paying to park. That's
$2. Fuck that.
I always thought like my foot was going to get stuck and I would never get out, and the train would run me over.
So favorite Raider game. What's the game where you just, and we're going to get into on the off season. You're the disciple that you are now, but what game?
Your favorite game ever?
What's that?
Favorite game I attended or favorite game ever?
Favorite game ever. One game that you just were very, very blown away, and like, just.
I mean, come on. The first Super Bowl win.
There it is. Me too.
Is, to me, it's like everything that team had worked for the last, 8 or 9 years, taking it on the chin for teams. And then again, to take it on the chin next year from the fucking refs in the AFC Championship game against
Denver.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, the Rob Lytle fumble.
Fucking Jim Tunney fucked us on that fucking call.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And the
clear fucking Willie Hall clearly hit him, and he clearly dropped that fucking ball. If it was in today's world, it wouldn't go down. But anyway, the Super Bowl, just because we were the ultimate team then.
And it didn't start off well because Ray Guy got a punt block, and then they were on like the 2-yard line, and then Tarkin gives McClanahan Stonewall. There's a fumble. Willie Hall from USC, Raider football, and then it was over. Then the game was over.
Yeah, they just did. It was they scored as a formality. Honestly, it was an absolute just formality. There was, the Raiders dominated that game in every facet of that game, and so I that one, any of them from back then, the wild card season, in '80, when that was like fucking, they were 9-7 that year, or
they were a wild card.
That's what I'm saying. They barely made it in. You know what I mean? And that was another special season, and just there were so many games where they came back, or it was so exciting, so many times as the Oakland Raiders, so many.
Right. Well, I'm going to ask the question right now. All you fellas out there, I got a question, and I got you on dialed in. I can see who responds and who's going to win the prize of Raider Fan of the Day. I don't know, whatever you want to call yourselves. In 1974, the Raiders played the Dolphins in the Sea of Hands game. And in that game, the ball was kicked off to the Dolphins. Black hole side, wasn't black hole then. And Nat Moore ran 89 yards for a touchdown on the very, very first play. Who can tell me who kicked the ball off to start that game? You're on point, guys. Clocks are moving. Steven, what was the worst game you walked out of in Oakland? I know there was that the Patriot game, the Billy Sullivan game, and we'll get to that at another time. But what was the worst Oakland game that you ever walked out of? And that could be up to the 2019.
When they got beat by the Ravens, we were so excited that morning, and
Yeah.
we had. I mean, the AFC Championship was in our house. If we make it to the show, we'll beat whoever they have to roll out of this team. Well, and then what happened. Gannon got fucking washed, and as soon as that, he was not a factor anymore.
Ugh.
It was just, because it wasn't a high-scoring game, it was a very low-scoring game. I think it was Shannon Sharp got lucky on one play.
Yep. Yep. Anthony Dorsett blew coverage.
That was not a good game. I didn't like leaving the Coliseum that day after that fucking game. They could have. I mean, we left so early. I had the van packed up with everybody like at 4 a.m. because that was still when it was every man for himself at the parking lot. And so we went together to get our spots, and that was still crazy. It was a great day, and then that game just sucked. There was no competitiveness at all.
Well, we have a winner, Zetro. And guess who it could be? Who would you think would win that? Somebody somebody that lived really close to us.
What's that?
Somebody who lived very, very close to us, and I used to watch the games with them. I'm going to show it. Sean Cohen. Sean Z. gets.
He's the winner.
He's the winner. He's the first one that popped up. I had a lot of lots of blandas. And then Captain Jack, he came in just a second after. I'm sure he did. Jacko, he knows. Captain Jack, you can't hold that man back. That guy is amazing. He is one guy. Oh, here it is. And he actually is elaborating. Dorsett did run into Marquez Pope. Yeah, took a bad angle. And I was at the top of the stadium that day. And it was not fun. That was a horrible day. Horrible day. So I'll tell you a great story. Not one that was my favorite ever, but me and Mark Sanchez went to this Chiefs-Raider game. And the Raiders they should have never lost this game. Okay. And this was in, I don't remember, 79, 78. Okay. And the Raiders go down to tie the game up 16-13. And Jimmy Breach comes in and misses like a 25-yard field goal. Sanchez wanted to just take everybody out that game. I mean, he was on his way home. He was on his way out, just like he was furious. I mean, totally furious. And I know he's listening tonight, and I hope he remembers it. And happy anniversary, Mark, Indiana. But I just remember he was like, I'm going to kill him. If I see him, he's dead. He just ruined my whole day. And it was just like, holy guacamole, Batman, slow down. It was funnier than hell. My worst game going home, I would have to say, wow, that's a tough one. I'd have to think about it. I mean, 70s wise, 80s wise, and 2000s, probably the game against the Cowboys on a Sunday night where Carr fumbles out of the end zone. That one just drove me nuts. I didn't dig that game at all. But those were some fun years. I mean, they'll never be matched by any team ever again. And those were the Oakland Raiders, and that was the Oak time. That was the time where we were the city of champions. We had Rick Barry, Gus Williams, Nate Thurman. We had the A's. I mean, my brother's a huge A's fan, season ticket holder, and it was like, it was just tough on us, very, very tough on us to see what happened. So I want to get into one more thing. Yeah, last night we had, like I said, I told you earlier, Captain Jack. Hey, I want to know if you're, or what band is your brother playing? And I go, no, not telling you. You got to come and watch the show tomorrow night. So I wanted to ask you, because I know for a while there I saw jerseys on you on stage all over the world. And here's my brother, probably circa 1980s, with the Raiders on. What was the fan response with you? Let's just talk about the United States first, and then we'll go to Europe.
I mean, football fans would engage, and it was different because back then they weren't bad. You know what I mean? They didn't have a streak of 30 seasons where they don't win the AFC Championship in the West or went to the Super Bowl. You got to remember, we were spoiled football fans. The team inception was in 1960. By 1983, you had been to 4 Super Bowls, won 3 of them, been to how many AFC Championship games and how many division titles you sold that. So until 1984, you owned the world. But since then, it hasn't been, there hasn't been anything. There's nothing to hang, your hat on. The whole Oakland coming back was kind of a debacle. They only put a team that was any good, I think, 3 seasons out of the 25 that they were back. So
did a lot of fans come up to you and like, hey man, I'm a Raider fan from Crapchester? Or
hear that. I do hear that. I did hear that. I did hear that. But a lot of things like I'll get it in New York and be like, yeah, the fucking Giants will get you, or the fucking Jets will get you, or the Cowboys fans are very vocal. Of course, all of the rest of Exodus were Niner fans. Well, I have that going for me. You know what I mean? So that was another thing, So I think fans were different in other places, not as aggressive as in Oakland. You know what I mean?
Oh no, for sure.
Different fan base, different animal. Different. I remember even when they first came back, some kid's got an Elway jersey and he's walking through the crowd, and some man is, drunken idiot. Hey, take that fucking jersey off that Elway. It's like, okay, it's a little kid, you know what I mean? But that was Oakland. That was the Raider fans. So
do you remember Pops? And does anybody out there remember Pops? And real quick, I have a disclaimer. Miles Fry actually got in before Sean did. So I apologize to Miles Fry. I love the Fries. I love them. Love the Fry brothers. So Miles Fry, I apologize for that. I've got something for you. Trust me. Anyway, let's go into Pops. Do you remember Pops?
Yeah, because they didn't have, back in those days, there wasn't crowd cheerleaders like there is now. I mean, there was some, but not like, and Pops was early school. I mean, I think he wore the mask like an old man. He had the jersey that said Pops on it.
Pops on it, yeah.
On stilts, and so him, there was, but it wasn't like it is now with, all the different fans that are, known by other Raider fans of who they are. And that goes with any team.
I couldn't find a picture of Pops. I looked everywhere, and I remember seeing him on a video, but I don't remember which one it is. But I do remember Darth Vader came around. What you corrected me. I said 76, but you said Star Wars didn't come out till 77.
Come out till 77, so I'm going to say 78. You know what I mean? Probably because I don't see them. They came out. Hey, I don't see anybody. Maybe they did at the '77. But you didn't go through your old pro magazines because you used to get one and they had the Raider ones had pops in there. They were doing his little dance.
Yeah. Those programs unfortunately did not make the 95 Fire. So I didn't, but I remember seeing him on an old video, and I remember back in the 70s, remember the Denver Barrel guy? Who remembers Denver Barrel guy?
He was around for quite a while.
Yeah, he lasted quite, and he's actually a really good guy.
Well, again, a lot of the other fans that you go to, you can go to their tailgate without being berated. Oakland, that was not part of the case, you know.
It's kind of like going to Philly right now.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I mean, after the NFC Championship game, if you had a Redskins sticker on your car, they cut all 4 of your tires. They said they didn't have enough tow trucks to get to the stadium.
I bet they did.
That's funny. Also, when you went to Europe, I remember you get me a Tottenham Hotspur shirt, and you had to remember telling me that they were kind of like the Raiders of the.
I'm a soccer fan. I actually a guy who read one of the guys who wrote the Metallica book and the Ozzy book, Mr. Ozzy, the place rang. He knew he was a Raiders fan, English guy. But Raiders, mate, that's what you got to follow Tottenham, mate. They're just like the Raiders. So I kind of started following Tottenham Hotspur only because they were about that, you know, about the Raiders. I was a fan of the Detroit Pistons for a few seasons because remember when Al Davis gave them a bunch of Raider swag because they
were called the Bad Boys.
You know what I mean? They played basketball like the Raiders played football. You know? So
I just told that story about how I became a Flyer fan. And I remember in 1974 or 5, I can't remember. They had a Cub Scout night at the Seals game. Remember, they would give tickets away. They would pay you to go to those games. And I remember going back to Scotty Sterling, he had talked about that. Remember, they had that deal with the Soviets where they had that exhibition game, and then they were getting beat to crap, and the Soviets didn't want to come out in the third period, and they said, oh, no, you don't get your $1 million stipend if you don't come out on the third period. And then the Flyers just destroyed them. Well, I remember in 74, I mean, you know how hockey is. It's so beautiful. When you're at the game, the ice is white, the teams come out. It's the best. I love hockey. And you see these orange and black jerseys, right? And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, that is beautiful. And then Dave Schultz just destroying everybody on that team. Like, yep, I'm a Flyer fan now. Here, don't guys, don't get crazy about my big arms.
Yeah,
love my Flyers, and I know Captain Jack is a big Flyer fan. Cap's big Philly fan, and that was I remember. I mean, I went to a few Warrior games. And unfortunately, back in the 80s when the TMC thing came, remember there were $2 Tuesdays where you could get $2 get a ticket, and then $2 a Coke and a hot dog. I took the Matthias. I remember taking the Matthias with me to those games, and we would load up on $10, and we would all get in and eat. So,
the love of Oakland.
Yeah, that's just sad. Anyway, is there anything you want to pump right now?
No, nothing. I mean, I've got my own personal stuff. Anybody who's in the Tampa, Florida area or Fort Lauderdale, I'm doing my solo thing next month on the 26th in Tampa at the Brass Mug and the 27th at Piper's in Pompano. And then, for right now, that's what I got going on.
That's awesome. Stevie, thank you so much. I knew that you would kill it, and I really appreciate it. Last one, Del Courtney.
Fans to come in. I'll come back in again.
Oh yeah, we're going to get you on in the off season, And we're going to get a couple other guys that I know that are just similar to your situation. And again, I don't hate that, but we will talk about it. We will definitely talk about it. So, hey, man, love you, brother. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have fun.
All right. See you, buddy.
Later, bro.
All right, guys. Now I'm definitely want to promote next Friday night. And next Friday night, I'm going to have the killer Raider Pirate. This one is old school. This guy lives in Florida and doesn't miss Raider games. If you want to check out his podcast, go to Captain Jack Rackham on YouTube. I apologize for not having the link, but I was on his show last night. Sorry, guys. It's hot in here. I apologize for being a fatty. His show is a lot of great talk. He has people on there that really make a lot of sense. I had so much fun last night, Jack. Thank you as always. You're just a class act. I keep telling you that, but you know what? You're a class act, man. And then lastly, in 2 weeks, on September 2nd, one of the guys in that picture is going to be coming on my show. We'll be talking more 70s football. During the preseason, I don't want to talk too much analytics. We'll get to that. There's plenty of time for that. And you could get bored out of your mind trying to figure out vanilla offenses and vanilla defenses. And I will not talk about clickbait trades, anything like that. It's just not what I don't care if I get how many viewers we get. What I want to get is good football guys. And I see that I have great football guys here. It's really good. The comments here are unbelievable. I wish I could show them, but I can't at this point. I'm a boomer. Give me a while. I mean, I've been up to 2:00 in the morning trying to get these shows up. And let me show you this last picture. There's the guy that's going to be on the show in 2 weeks. He will be very well with stories. And I'll definitely tease it next week with Captain Jack. I mean, this guy he knows his football. He's a great football coach. So anyway, guys, if you are ever in the game, if you ever go to the game, I don't miss any football or any home Raider games. So if you ever are at the game, please come up to section 246. It's the most beautiful stadium in the world. I've been to a lot of stadiums, haven't been to all of them, but for the ones that I've been to, this stadium kills it. I love Allegiant Stadium. It's too bad that stadium wasn't built in Oakland, because it would be just a monument. But please come up and talk to me. I'm going to be doing some questions to the guys. And then on the bottom of my banner here, I'd like to see some email pictures to me. Some old school to madbomberpodcast3@gmail.com. Send me some old stuff. Send me some new stuff. Send me some Raider stuff. I mean, it would be an honor to have you, to have your pictures, and I'll definitely show it online. So, with that saying, thank you very much for making my first show so great. Thank you to my brother, Steven Souza. Love you, brother. That was just so good. You guys got a hard one to follow right there. And again, tomorrow night, Raiders, Arizona, 7:00 Pacific time. And we just talked about the great Bill King. You all right? You guys ready for a little Bill King? See you next Friday, guys, 6:00. Maybe we won't.
Now it's Siani to the left. Biletnikoff to the right against Marsalis. Back is Lamonica. Throws for Biletnikoff. Touchdown Raiders! Biletnikoff is having words right now with Marsalis. Fred caught that ball after quite a physical battle with Marsalis in the right corner of the end zone. He went on out of the end zone, and then instead of slamming the ball into the turf, he ran back in about 10 yards to where Marsalis was and defiantly slammed it in the turf in front of Marsalis. The two tight ends are lined up as tight ends. Back goes Darrell to pass. He's looking for Smith, but instead goes down the middle. Chester, touchdown Raiders! Holy Toledo, what a great call! 19 yards and a Raider touchdown to make had gotten free at the 5 and was all alone in the end zone 2 yards in. The Chargers now have a brilliant opportunity to put this game away. Here's Williams to the left, Garrison to the right, flanks right, Charlie Smith out to the left as a wingback, leaves only one back to block, that's Hubbard. LaMonica back, gets fine blocking, now he throws down the middle, Branch at the 20. Branch at the 18, tripped up, keeps going, reverses to the 15, he's at the 10, he dances down to the 9-yard line. First and goal to go Raiders. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, and hang on to your hats. Branch is still in. He goes to the right, slotted inside Biletnikoff. 5 defensive backs in there. LaMonica gives to Smith, sending him to the left. He's got Upshaw in front. He's at the 5. He's at the 2. It's a touchdown Raiders! Charlie Smith from 9.5 yards out. Oakland has gone in front. Clarence Davis is in for Charlie Smith. He's a deep threat on pass reception. Back goes Stabler to pass, steps away from the rush. He's going to run up the left side. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown, Oakland Raiders! I'm sorry I've lost my voice. Kenny Stabler goes all the way, 30 yards.
Bye now.
Now it's Siani to the left. Biletnikoff to the right against Marsalis. Back is Lamonica. Throws for Biletnikoff. Touchdown Raiders! Biletnikoff is having words right now with Marsalis. Fred caught that ball after quite a physical battle with Marsalis in the right corner of the end zone. He went on out of the end zone, and then instead of slamming the ball into the turf, he ran back in about 10 yards to where Marsalis was and defiantly slammed it in the turf in front of Marsalis. The two tight ends are lined up as tight ends. Back goes Darrell to pass. He's looking for Smith, but instead goes down the middle. Chester, touchdown Raiders! Holy Toledo! What a great ball! 19 yards and a Raider touchdown to make it 22-3. Chester had gotten free at the 5 and was all alone in the end zone 2 yards in. The Chargers now have a brilliant opportunity to put this game away. Here's Williams to the left, Garrison to the right, flanks right, Charlie Smith out to the left as a wingback, leaves only one back to block, that's Hubbard. Lamonica back, gets fine blocking, now he throws down the middle, Branch at the 20. Branch at the 18, tripped up, keeps going, reverses to the 15, he's at the 10, he dances down to the 9-yard line. First and goal to go Raiders. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, and hang on to your hats. Branch is still in. He goes to the right, slotted inside Biletnikoff. 5 defensive backs in there. Lamonica gives to Smith, sending him to the left. He's got Upshaw in front. He's at the 5. He's at the 2. It's a touchdown Raiders! Charlie Smith from 9.5 yards out. Oakland has gone in front. Clarence Davis is in for Charlie Smith. He's a deep threat on pass reception. Back goes Stabler to pass, steps away from the rush. He's going to run up the left side. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown, Oakland Raiders! I'm sorry I've lost my voice. Kenny Stabler goes all the way